Hey guys, Drutter here. It's December the 17th, 4 days before the end of the world, and about a week before Christmas. Before I get started, I just wanted to mention this video is going to be silver and economy related, with a little bit of opinion and analysis thrown in, just so you're aware of what's coming. And before I get started, I wanted to say I will be carrying this 1.5 ounce coin, but I won't be doing it on my website. There was some demand for it, I would say. I did a video gauging demand for it. A lot of people were interested in the coin because it's novel, it's interesting. A lot of people said that they wouldn't, they wouldn't stack a lot of it, but they would be interested in getting one or maybe a few. So I'll be doing it by special order. You email me directly, and I will set up a price and a quote. Let me know how you're paying. PayPal, or for Canadian residents, you have the option of e-transfer, of course, which is cheaper, and because we can avoid the PayPal fees. And let me know how many you're interested in and where it would be shipped to, and then I can give you a quote. So I'll put my website contact me page link down below, and that's how you can contact me if you don't already know my contact info. I think what I'd like to do here is talk about the silver chart over the past 2 months. It's always useful to have a look at where you've been in terms of price recently. Doesn't necessarily predict the future at all. We can use technical analysis to give us some clues, and that doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. So we'll just have a look and see where we've been. It's good to have a summary sometimes. I'm going to put some little circles on the chart, little points, key up and down points and key points in time when things were happening. So first I'm going to draw in this here, which was the announcement of QE3, and then we had sort of a consolidation period, I guess you could call it, till there. Then we had a sharp move down. Each of these candles, of course, is 1 day, so this is a good 2 to 3 weeks of drop. So we'll put another one there at the bottom of that trend. Then we had a fairly marked increase back almost to 35 again, so we'll go back to the top here, and we made another low a couple of weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, it looks like, about there. Then we made another top here, and I'll just mark today in with a circle down here. Okay, so we can connect these points. Let's get a line. How do I do that? Line. Something like that. First we had this sort of sideways move. You can mark a down move in with red. Let's go, ooh, that's not red. Undo. Mark this down move in with red, down to there. And an up move to there. And a down move. A lower high. And recently another down move. So that's essentially where we've been. Now I can draw in, let's see. I can draw in QE3 was announced there, and QE4, or whatever else you want to call it, the extension of Operation Twist and turning it from Operation Twist into just flat out printing money. Well, that's the twist, I guess. They introduce it one way and it becomes something else. I don't think they could have announced Operation Twist, which was actually not on this chart way back when, by saying we're just going to print $85 billion out of thin air, over $1 trillion a year that we're willing to admit, just out of thin air, and that's going to go on forever. What they had to do was say, well, we have Twist, and Twist can go on forever. But then Twist couldn't go on forever because, as we found out the other day, Twist is the swapping of long and short-term bonds, and they ran out of short-term bonds to swap. So they had to go to just flat-out printing the money. Did they not notice that they were going to run out of short-term bonds after a while? Did nobody run those calculations? I don't know. But anyway, Twist is now permanent, bigger than it was before, and a lot more potent than it was before. anyhow, I just noticed that this is the wrong color, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I'll change it. Yeah, QE3's announcement, as you'll see, came at a top, or almost a top. We got QE3, and then from that day forth, we were able to pierce 35 briefly here, but we didn't even close above the 35 level at all, going back for a very long time. So QE3 led to a sideways move and a very nasty down move, which is over $4 here, which is, I don't know, about 15% of the chart was lost just right there. Regained, but not to that point, not to this point that we were at QE3. So we haven't even regained the price that we were at when QE3 was announced. And of course QE3 is the ongoing QE. But anyhow, this point, I'm not sure exactly what was happening in terms of politics and Fed announcements and things at this point. Might have just been a technical point where silver made a turnaround. And then this QE4 has been similarly bad for the silver chart. Now, I'm not saying that that's manipulation at all. In fact, I don't even think it is manipulation. I'm not saying it's manipulation, and I don't think it's manipulation, but of course there always is manipulation in the market. This is a manipulated market. Anyone who says otherwise just hasn't done the research, apparently. Now, why does this QE seem to be sending prices lower? I mean, we haven't even regained this price that we were at QE3, let alone this further QE. I mean, if QE is printing money or easing, it is buying up bad assets and so forth, that is directly stimulating the economy. That's putting cash, not necessarily in the hands of consumers and spenders right away, but it is putting cash into the market and printing dollars, creating dollars that do find their way into markets. I mean, they're injected directly into banks and into these markets. So why are we not seeing higher prices for gold and silver? Why are we not seeing higher prices in everything? Why are we not seeing runaway inflation? Great questions, and I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I know that the numbers, the inflation numbers, are bogus and are lies. So when they say that we're going to QE4 until unemployment gets to 6.5, we know the true numbers are closer to 24% right now. So it would have to drop by a quarter to get to where they're saying they're going to get to. But anyway, official numbers are 7.7 or something, and they're going to get that to 6.5, and then they're going to stop QE4, which is kind of code for saying we're going to do QE4 until we don't want to anymore, because they're the ones that decide what that unemployment number says. They can manipulate that number to be anything they want. And so when they want QE4 to end, it will end, and it won't end until a moment before then. That's just my take on it. But Silverfuturist had a video out today, so I'll link it down below. It is, I think it was called something like, why haven't the QE3 and QE4 caused higher prices, to that effect anyway. And his theory is that they were already priced into the market. The market already knew. Well, I was not aware of QE4 and QE3. I was aware of rumors, but the actual announcements were a surprise to most people. Anyhow, check out the Silverfuturist's video. Was silver priced into the market already for these? I guess it was. But then the point remains, how can we create so much currency and just print it out of nothing? And we don't have any inflation. We don't even see the markets moving. In fact, they're going down. Whether or not people knew about QE3 and QE4 before they happened is, maybe a moot point, because we can look at the market and say, why are we printing so much money, but it's not having any kind of debasement effect? That's the bigger question here. And if it's true that QE3 and QE4 are already priced into the market and that's why silver's going down, does that mean that all it takes to avoid inflation is to make sure that people are aware it's coming, and then there won't be any inflation? Just briefly, this is a blog called Rescue Seth Simpson. He apparently is a Canadian living in the US, and he was recently apprehended by the authorities, dragged out of bed basically, and into jail, and his family wasn't even really told what was going on or why, and it has something to do with the Department of Homeland Security, I believe. I don't know. If you want to check out this blog, it was sent to me by a friend of mine who knows these people personally. Apparently, nice family or whatever, Canadian family living in the US, and their life has just been upended by what's going on right now. So if you want to read that and check into it a little further, I think that they would appreciate your support. If everybody's out filling up their tanks for the end of the world in a few days here, it's certainly not reflected in the price, because we haven't had it this cheap in Vancouver for a couple of years. It's almost back down to $1 a liter. And the latest tragedy in the USA involving guns is being used to push forward the gun control debate. Disturbing, of course, something that we've seen coming. Obama didn't do anything about gun control in his first term, but as soon as the election was over, we have this tragedy. I'm not saying that's why the tragedy happened, I'm just saying that's when it happened. And now we have the gun control debate, and he is vowing to do something about it this time. So this CNN article says that new polls suggest that the elementary school shooting may be changing public opinion. And what are they talking about? Well, it goes on to say, as the horrific shootings in Connecticut remain fresh in the minds of Americans, the big question is whether the deaths of 20 young children at Sandy Hook Elementary School will be enough to impact opinion on gun control. So yes, that is the big question. Will it be enough to impact the opinion on gun control? I've heard even up here in Canada people talking in the news and the media talking about how, you know, don't those Americans ever learn? They need to get rid of their guns. They have to get rid of that right to own guns. You know, it's a nice thought, but it's not applicable in today's day and age. So even here in Canada, we're pushing for Americans to get rid of their rights and not be able to own guns anymore. I don't know if that means that knives will have to be taken away, or perhaps bleach and aspirin and other things that are very dangerous, but I guess that's yet to be seen. If you want to know my opinion, I have a video called Let's Have the Gun Debate, so I'll link that down below, but I'll save you some time. Essentially, there is no debate. It is your right to own protection of any kind, as long as you're not harming other people. That is your right, and that's what liberty tells us, and that's what I'm going with. Please watch the video linked below from Charlie McGrath, aka Krabby Dog Tricks, aka Wide Awake News. This is his explanation of the connection between the Connecticut shooting and the Aurora shooting, which happened recently. Both events are pushing us further towards losing our Second Amendment rights, or at least in the US, losing your Second Amendment rights. So have a quick listen to this.
If we look at the shooter in Aurora, James Holmes, his father, Robert Holmes, was a chief scientist for FICO, the credit score people. He was also scheduled to testify on the LIBOR scandal. Now, the LIBOR scandal is 16 multinational banking institutions.
Okay, so there's a LIBOR connection and a, big banking connection between the fathers of both of the suspects in these two massacres. So that is alarming enough as it is, but just have a look at the rest of this video. The tragedy of losing 20 children is terrible. Just imagining those children with bullets ripping through their bodies. I mean, I can't imagine what that would be like if that happened to my kids. It's ridiculously awful. It is. There's nothing else that can be said about that. But you have to realize that events like this can be either used or, in fact, manufactured to pass unpopular laws and to create unpopular social change that the government believes is necessary for the people. And it has been done, since governments began, and it is still ongoing today. And so you have to wonder, is there some reason why such huge coincidences and huge connections between these events? And there's even more than I've told you here. So just keep digging, keep having a look at this stuff. And, 20 kids, that is terrible. One child is too many. But we won't get any safer by giving up our liberty. We really won't. It's ridiculous that we've lost sight of that fact. We should know that. It doesn't help. It doesn't help to give up your liberty. It is not making you safer or more free. And lastly, I'd like to say, 20 children is a lot of children to die in one day. But every time we have a drone strike in these countries, there's 20 children getting blown to smithereens. Thousands and thousands of children have been blown to bits or maimed and have their hands and their arms and legs blown off or lose their parents, etc., etc., because of what we are doing to brown people in the Middle East. 20 children is far too many children, but we're killing thousands of them around the world. Do they not count because they're not Americans? Now have a look at the video linked below. This is the spokesperson for the Sandy Hook massacre, and he's talking about social media sites and alternative media reporting on this event.
Again, all information relative to this case is coming from these microphones, and any information coming from other sources cannot be confirmed, and in many cases it's been found is inaccurate. So I simply, that's the newest twist today, that we want to make sure that's perfectly clear that social media websites that contain information relative to this case are not being posted by the Connecticut State Police, are not being posted by the Newtown Police, are not being posted by any authorities in this case. So any of that information and people that are putting that information up there in any manner, all right, that can be construed as a violation of state or federal law, will be prosecuted, will be investigated and prosecuted.
Okay. Look at the whole thing, the 2 to 4 minute mark anyway. It's pretty disturbing to hear someone say that only the government, mainstream media, and the police can be believed, and anything else is disinformation, and we may actually come after you and put you in jail for it. So I don't know if YouTube is considered social media. I guess it is. I'll allow it to be embedded or whatever. Go ahead, put it on Facebook, or maybe put this one on Facebook and expose this nasty fat pig for what he really is, a tyrant and an enemy of free speech and liberty. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Have a good rest of your week, and if I don't talk to you before Christmas, have a great holiday and Christmas time with your families. Lots of love, lots of peace, lots of harmony, and all those other great words. And we'll talk again soon. If you're still looking for Christmas gifts and you're in Canada, you could probably get something delivered. You got 1 week. Monday the 24th will be the last day to get something delivered. So either order today off my site, or give me an email and we can set something up for express post or whatever to get something there quicker. Alright guys, talk to y'all soon.